Alright, so I'm going to try and keep my train of thought going while I'm playing my game. See how that works, but we had some big news this morning. I just found out. I woke up. Brett Favre is returning to the NFL, and he will be playing on the Minnesota Vikings. Now, a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, he announced that he is not coming back. It sounded like he had made his final decision and that he would not be coming back. And now it looks like he's just changed his mind, which I guess isn't that surprising, but it sounded like he had made his decision a couple weeks ago, so it is at least a little bit surprising. Now, he's returning to the NFL, and that's that. It sounds like he's already signed. There's no speculation here, although I did hear some speculation on ESPN last night that some unnamed Minnesota Vikings players already knew he was coming. So, to me, I know a lot of people are going to be making videos and talking about how, oh, I'm so sick of him, I hate him, get him out, I am just tired of him, and, they want to see him retired, and I understand that, and part of me agrees with that. I don't like to see him further alienating the Green Bay fan base by going to one of their heated rivals. I don't like to see him continue to drag out his career past its positive point, and really at this point, who knows if he'll be able to keep up a high level of play. Honestly, I kind of doubt it, but you never know. But I did want to make this video kind of in defense of this Brett Favre thing, because I don't think too many people are going to have many positive things to say about this. So, to me, first of all, when most of us retire, we're at the end of our life. I'm not the first person to say this, admittedly, but I've heard it said about unrelated things. We're old. We just want to stop doing things. We're 60. We're 70. Football players, any sports player really, when they retire, they're not even 40. I think Favre is like 40 now, actually, but most athletes aren't. So they still have half their life ahead of them, and it can be hard to give up what their life has been all about to that point when half of their life is still ahead of them. So I don't think it's necessarily for us to say when an athlete should retire. I kind of did this with Gary Payton a few years ago, when he was sticking around in spite of an inability to play even well. He was barely starting. And to me, while it is kind of frustrating for us to see these once great players play at a much lesser level than they used to, I don't know if it's for us to say that, well, you should retire, because this is their livelihood and they still have a long life ahead of them, and for some of them it's going to be very hard to find something else to do. So that is in defense of him. Now, don't get me wrong, I hate to see him continue to play at a lesser level. I hate to see him drag this thing out. It's not necessarily fun. I'm not going to pretend that I enjoy all of it, but there are some positives here. There is a chance he can still play. Last year, he had positive moments. It wasn't all good, but it wasn't all bad. He did fall apart at the end of the year. I attribute a lot of that to being old, and that's not something you can get rid of. But I think that if you're just looking at this from a football perspective, if Minnesota can keep his attempts to a minimum, give the ball 25 times to Adrian Peterson a game, give it 20 times to Chester Taylor a game, feed the ball to the running backs, and just have Favre throw the ball 20 times a game at most, I could see it working. You just got to make sure at the end of the year he's not tired because he threw the ball too many times throughout the year. You can't have him throwing 35, 40 passes a game really ever. You got to do everything you can to keep the wear and tear off him, and it can work. He can be refreshed for the playoffs. And there are some exciting things. I mean, he holds all these major quarterback records. Touchdown passes, interceptions, yards, wins, all this good stuff. So we get to watch him further pad those stats, and while it's arguably not that interesting because he already holds the records, he cannot break them, you're still watching this guy who's going to be extending on all these records that he already holds, and that's kind of interesting. So those are the bright sides here, and that's kind of my defense of this whole thing, because I know a lot of people are gonna be down on it. So in conclusion, he might still be able to play. I personally doubt it, but it's possible he might still be able to play. And really, what we see from Favre, if he is terrible in Minnesota this year, because there's a decent chance of that, if he is, that should not tarnish what he did in the past. What we see him do now should not make what he did before appear lesser. So hopefully people can look at it like that. I kind of understand a little bit why he would have such a hard time walking away. So I'm going to be entertained by what he does in Minnesota this year. Pad his records, maybe win some games. We'll see what he has. So that's all I have to say. Hopefully things work out. And see you guys later.